why we're in the situation we're in. Lynn in Middlesex, you're on the air.
Oh, happy birthday, James.
Thank you, Lynn.
How old
Hi,
are you?
David. I wanted
52.
to comment.
One more than me. Old guy.
Thank you.
I wanted to comment on the shapeshifters and the Illuminati, but can I just mention about the turquoise? Like, it's so protective that if you have a piece of turquoise that's yours, it might break instead of you breaking your leg.
Really?
Yeah.
So you reckon carrying a piece of turquoise with you? You mean the stone rather than the colour?
Yeah, the stone.
The piece of turquoise. Carry a piece. It protects you from harm and I remember that. I'm going to get some.
Yeah.
Right. Where can I get it from?
Well, they sell them in crystal shops.
Yeah. Turquoise. Right. Okay.
But about the Illuminati, the good news is that they can't ultimately succeed in their twisted evil plan because it's against the universal law. But the bad news is the damage they continue to do till they give in. But the Incunabala, have you heard of them?
No.
Because they're above the Illuminati, and they want to avoid Armageddon and lead the world, like mankind, towards free energy.
So who are these? What did you call them?
The Incunabala.
The Incunabala.
They're the tip top.
They're better than the Illuminati.
Yeah, they're above. Yeah, they're above everything. Above wealth. They don't. Whatever. Anyway.
And do they exist on this planet now?
Yeah.
Are they in human form?
Well, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, are there any we could identify?
No, I couldn't name any. They don't even want to be named.
All right.
I just thought I'd mention them.
How do you find all this out?
It's on the Wingmakers website.
Right, okay.
But also about the shapeshifters, because I've seen people shapeshift from one person to another, and they called it me being aware of them changing when they stepped in and out. Mm-hmm. And they had this reptilian, well, you know, like Barney, the children's cartoon thing, not cartoon, you know, Barney,
the dinosaur.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Well, he was shaped like him. And he said, can she see me? Can she see and hear me? And I just pretended I couldn't. And he shook his hands and he went in my face. And one of the shapeshifters said, I don't know, but let's step out of the room while we discuss what we're going to do about it. So I just thought, because I did try and email that to David Icke's site, but I can never get through. I always get kicked off.
All right.
And I've only ever got one email from Jocelyn saying that they were trying to shut the website down. Have they done that?
Well, they tried a few times, but
who tried? Well,
what you get is the people that the servers. They'll just say they won't give you a reason. They'll just say we're not hosting the site anymore. So that's happened about 3 times, but we have a very solid one now. So.
Yeah.
So it looks like we've cracked it at last.
DavidIcke.com.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, if it's all crazy and stuff like that, what do people want to do that for? But in terms of you hear stories about, the shape-shifting stuff. And when I first came across it, obviously in about the mid-90s, like everyone else, you go, what? But the stories are so many. From so many different types of people, from so many different walks of life, and they are so common in their themes and experience that, if people want to know what's going on in the world, there's something to look at here. Exactly what we need to still know, but there's something going on here in relation to this.
It still has something to do with this gene that many of us carry, the gene of the R complex?
Well, no, the R complex. I mean, you see, I've learned so much in doing this, in trying to understand things. I didn't realize that the most ancient part of the brain, your brain, my brain, everyone's brain, is actually called the R complex by science, the reptilian complex. And it comes from our reptilian history.
Really?
There's still people being born with tails. You know that?
Well, yeah, I mean, people,
because, codes, DNA codes that at this point in our if you like, evolution, for want of a word, should be closed, open.
So why is this reptilian side so prominent then, or managed to sort of stay involved? I mean, we don't think of reptiles as particularly intelligent beings, do we?
Well, the thing is that we come back to
higher brain's been brought down to serve the reptilian brain.
Yeah, we come to what I mentioned earlier, that we have this idea that what we see through our eyes is all possibility, when actually infinity exists beyond this frequency range that we can access with our five senses. So all possibility exists. And, you know, when you look at the fantastic variety of forms, why shouldn't there be a form that is a reptilian in its visual appearance, but actually mentally very, very intelligent? Of course, if all possibility exists, that possibility also exists. And when you talk to people like Credo Muchwa, who was initiated into black African secret societies that were created when the Europeans first came into Africa, and people like Cecil Rhodes, in the words of Credo Muchwa, they wanted to milk the minds of the shaman, find out what they knew, and then kill them so that it wouldn't be passed on. Secret societies were created in black African culture to keep the ancient knowledge alive once the Europeans arrived. And Credo Muchwa was initiated into this knowledge. He's kind of over 80 now, 50 years or so ago. And the reason he contacted me, and we spent hours and days together, was because he'd come across one of my books, The Biggest Secret, when I first introduced this reptilian thing, purely because I was coming across it in people I met. And he said to me, how do you know this? This is what I was initiated into 50 years ago. In black African culture, they call this race the Chitahuri, which translates as the children of the serpent or the children of the python. And again, this continual reptilian theme continues. Now,
could you be one of these and not know it? Or would you know it?
See, all I can tell you is what people tell me. And I've talked to a number of people who are on the inside of the Illuminati, but don't want to be. And as people talk about the CIA, just as one example, getting into it is much easier than getting out of it, as this scientist found with a patch on his chest. So people do... who have come to the conclusion they don't want to be part of this because it's absolutely, they're starting to realize how grotesque the agenda really is. They try to get information out to people as they can.
Do you think people like Tony Blair, the royal family, people like this are all aware of what's going on?
Absolutely.
What do you think, Lynn?
Absolutely, 100%.
For me?
Yeah.
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they have to be aware of what's going on, or they don't get into a position of power. They have to accept it. But they're not all bad, the reptilians. I actually saw a picture of a very good writer, and it's supposed to be the first picture of them ever printed. And I'm not going to say who it is, but they had a reptilian hand in this picture. And some of them, they thought they had no choice but to stay like that forever. But now they're starting to realise that might not actually have to be the case.
Do you agree with that, David? That some of the reptilian beings are not evil, or? Well,
I don't like to use the word evil anyway. Okay. But of course, like I said earlier, in the end, it's not the form you inhabit or the form you take. It's the consciousness that is within that form, that is animating that form. So therefore, every single expression of form has the potential of being something that is looking for freedom and love, or control and imposition, depending on the consciousness that's animating that particular form. And of course, therefore, there'll be the whole spectrum of attitudes in all these different infinite forms that exist. It seems to me from my research over the years and talking to people that this reptilian stuff is operating just outside the frequency range of the five senses, and sometimes it comes in so you see it and then it goes out again and it's gone. It's basically like people say, I saw this UFO and it disappeared in front of my eyes. And people say, it can't disappear in front of your eyes. You're mad. What actually happens is it changes frequency, and it leaves the five sense frequency range. And so to someone with five senses, it appears to disappear.
Do you subscribe to the view that a lot of the UFO and stuff like this actually come from this planet, but from a different dimension? And they come in and out, or?
The more that I move along this journey, the more I see this whole thing as interdimensional rather than what you might call extraterrestrial in the physical sense. I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but the real core of this for me is the interdimensional, the ability to move between dimensions into this one and out of it. And so, you see, like we said earlier, you hear stories which sound from a conditioned level of reality are absolutely impossible, where people say, I saw this figure, be it reptilian or non-human in some other form, and it just walked through the wall, and people, you're mad, you can't walk through a wall. Well, you can if you're not of the frequency of the wall.
Okay.
Just like a broadcast can come through the wall and be picked up on a radio.
Lynn, thank you for that. Thanks very much indeed, Lynn. We move on. Stephanie in Leeds, we're going to come to you after these words.